expressing emotions. The only downside to this technique is you may require ongoing medical assistance, but that means just having a sexy nurse around you all day. So it's actually all upside. Emotional suppression technique number 3, stay in your head. Let's...
Yep.
We just got to upgrade the room because it's still cold down here in the basement.
Yeah, we do have heat, but I think he's going to interfere with our mic.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a heat. Yeah, it's a heater. That's okay. Yeah, I can hear it.
You can hear it.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right, guys. So what are we going to be talking about today? Let's begin by first letting you know we got JP on the channel. Yeah, you shouldn't be shocked by that. You know we love some JP.
I know. I haven't done JP. Like, I only did one live when it was Tom McDonald, right?
Yeah.
But I think that was it. Was that all we did?
Yeah.
Pretty much, something like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Since you...
I haven't tuned in with JP either.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Wow.
Winter, right? It's winter down here.
Yeah,
it's definitely,
like
I feel it.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about the importance of prayer and also Damar Hamlin and how people came together to pray. It was amazing to watch, you know? Fathers, there's a fatherless crisis in our country right now. Mm-hmm. And these stats that I've been watching Patrick's podcast. He's something else. You're going to love him. And Tyson James, we're going to end up with Mr. Tyson James. He's got a beautiful song about family and wife. So the nature of this discussion today, guys, is placing more emphasis on family structure, finding different ways to strengthen that, because I realize there is an attack, and all the attack is really centered on the family and God. And I had to realize that. I'm like, the trend stuff is anti-family. You know, a lot of gay stuff, a lot of, even when you look at politics, some of the stuff that they do, even like Roe v. Wade and, you know, like abortion is all an attack on the home. And I'm like, wow, that's just crazy that
even the media, you know, all of the TikToks and the Facebooks and all that's taking you from your relationship, spending time, because you're out to eat and everyone's on their phone, so you're still not building relationships.
No, we're not. So
I'm excited for us to do our family worship nights.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be another thing. You guys gotta get ready for that. So we'll keep you posted, guys. We're gonna make some announcement, open the channel, and invite you, allow you to be part of the discussion. So without further ado, let's get to the video, guys. We are going over to JP. Okay.
I feel nervous, like I haven't done this before. Tom McDonald was easy, so guys, bear with me. I forgot, it's been a while. I did the one with Tom, but not the
Ghost.
lineup.
Yeah,
Ghost. That was a good song.
So the one we have here, how to suppress your emotion like a real man.
Oh, I say real men cry.
Okay.
In the dark and in the light.
There we go. All right, guys, let's get to this one.
To be a real man, you need to know how to suppress your emotions. If you're watching this, it means you're not a real man yet. So listen up. Nothing handicaps your journey into manhood more than feminine emotions. And the feminine emotions happen to be all of them. Scientifically speaking, emotions are the same thing as estrogen. So having them makes you a woman. The one exception is the emotion of happiness, because it has the word penis in it. So that's the only emotion acceptable for men to feel. So what can you do when your manhood is threatened with emotions? Answer: take matters into your own hands and suppress them. Here's 3 easy ways to do that. Emotional suppression technique number 1. Acquire an avoidant personality disorder. The beauty of an avoidant personality disorder is that your inner wisdom helps you avoid people and situations that could trigger emotions and their non-binary stepsister feelings. This personality dysfunction...
Wait a minute! What? I love this. This is such a great topic because, you know, we talk about so many different things, but learning how to appropriately handle emotions, like how many times have you had a silent house where everyone's avoiding each other? Kids are avoiding the parents are avoiding each other. You're just like, it's like walking The Walking Dead. Yeah, plenty. But yeah, so it's so important. I love the non-binary stepsister feelings. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. So this is a great topic.
Yeah, it is a great topic. And I think that's setting the stage for everything else we're going to talk about tonight. So guys, how do you deal with the negative emotions? You know, how do you get this conversation going? Sometimes I try to avoid it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I ain't trying to have that conversation right now. So but it's so significant that we find the time to intentionally sit down and open up and talk about it. I found lately I've been more willing to open and talk.
I agree.
I find that. I mean, before I was like, I'm just going to ignore it, hoping it goes away. It doesn't always
Going
happen.
into the basement.
I'm going to go record another Tom McDonald video downstairs.
Oh my God. Like, you can't just we got I'm a big communicator. So we got big communicator and little communicator.
Yeah.
That's like a recipe for a disaster.
Oh,
Oil
it's
and
great.
vinegar.
Yeah.
Tastes good together.
Yeah. I mean, we help balancing each other.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I can pull you out of the room when you have a hard time leaving the conversation. All right, Gia, I'll see you at home.
I'm like, don't you try to leave me.
Can you see that conversation after church? I'm like, peace.
And I'm like, where are you going?
I'm mastering the skills of goodbyes, because even at work, sometimes I find myself in a room with a resident and they're like, they want to talk. And I just like, I gotta go.
Amen.
But what I've learned to do is to walk backward when I'm listening and I'm nodding my head. I say, I got you. Well,
That's not learning.
I'll be back in a few minutes to check back on you, okay? All right, bye-bye.
I do that too.
So
I do that too.
we have to learn how to say goodbye. And I think otherwise,
Healthy balance is key. So you don't want to be an avoider and you don't want to be an over communicator either. You don't be over like, we get to talk about this now.
Yeah.
But you don't want to avoid it either. So balance is key.
It's key. And I think so many of us, we are so good at avoiding.
Avoiding just keeps you from having to face yourself.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes when you're avoiding, you have to reflect.
Yeah.
You have to be vulnerable. And that vulnerability is not always easy. So it's like, I love that I can say personally, it's a gift that God has given me is I will own my mistakes.
She's great. That's actually one of the best thing about my wife is that
I do.
She has that personal accountability kind of thing she does really well, which is
I am gifted.
Good.
I mean, we all have our struggles, but I am blessed in that. So I'm not an avoider, but of course we always have, everyone has something. But yeah, but it can be tough sometimes where I'm like, I know I was wrong when I said that. My timing was off.
Darth Vader says it can be uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
Very much so.
And then it's like but the key with being an accountable person, being accountable is not the only problem. So you'll say, I need to own my stuff, but then you try to like force accountability on another person.
Yeah.
So that's another thing with being accountable. I'm learning how to balance like, yes, I praise God and thank God that I am a person who will say, yeah, I did this wrong. But I also have to balance that I'm not the Holy Spirit. I don't need to make people see they're wrong.
Yeah. We don't have to be the one who convicts.
I'm not
people.
the still small voice. Okay?
Yeah. That's great.
Very necessary. Absolutely. Because what is it? There's no growth in the comfort zone and there's no comfort in the growth zone.
I gotta get a t-shirt made that way.
Like if you're
that.
to grow, it's going to be uncomfortable and you got to fight your, those inner.
Were you there when I was preaching and I quoted that?
I wasn't, but somebody told me.
Oh yeah. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was talking about Jonathan's and his father Saul hiding in the cave, being in their comfort.
Yes.
And Jonathan decided to
go out on a maybe.
Yeah.
Woo!
Go out on a maybe.
He went uphill after the enemy. Who would go uphill after an enemy? I'd be out of breath. That's another story though.
Yeah, that's great. All right, JP, where you at?
Function is a sign of strength that functions to make you stronger. Now, conflict with your spouse, or potentially any interaction with her, threatens to generate feminine feelings like sadness, anger, or I think that's all of them. But your avoidant personality disorder helps you avoid your wife at just the right time, which is most of the time, so you can avoid feeling emotions.
I hope we know that's all. This is all sarcasm. You never should avoid your wife. Happy wife, happy life.
Amen.
And we should just keep going with JP now.
Yeah.
I think that was like a mic drop statement.
Just the same. Just saying. Oh, that's great.
But JP, there's just one problem. What if my childhood wasn't traumatic enough to bless me with a talent of this personality disorder? Well, that's like having a childhood where you didn't even learn to walk. But there's hope for you because with enough determination, you can learn this disorder. Here's how. Anytime your wife has that look in her eyes like she just wants to talk, immediately walk out of the room. But if she follows you, then walk into the garage and start fixing shit. And if you don't have anything to fix, then start breaking shit so that you have shit to fix. But if
Oh my goodness.
great.
That is something I would do.
James is like, I'm gonna go get my Bible and I'm gonna go downstairs.
Yeah, I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna pray for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let me pray. I'm gonna pray for you about
Oh my
that.
goodness, yeah.
That was great.
Baby Jay has this new thing he loves to do now. So when I'm downstairs working, he's like, "Is there anything that I can break, Daddy?" Oh my gosh, this guy just, and you give him a hammer and the tool. Yeah, last night he was just
Break or fix?
He was breaking breaking. He wants to break stuff.
Oh.
So I mean, he just want to break things and build them back up. So he has that desire and stuff. But he's been breaking everything that I'm like, if I'm taking something down, I'm like, give it to BJ and give him a hammer. And he's just going at it. I'm like, is he working yet? No. Bam, 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 bam. I'm like, okay, keep going at it. Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
That's something else.
you don't have anything to fix, then start breaking shit so that you have shit to fix. But if your wife follows you into the garage, then leave the house for between 2 and 37 hours. Then come back when she's in bed. But if she somehow catches you anyway and says, we need to talk, that means you didn't get out early enough and you'll need to fake a heart attack. Alternatively, you can have a real heart attack. Emotional suppression technique number 2, hold your breath. Now, if you feel a surge of emotion coming on, the last thing you want to do is let it out. Because that'd be like being in the middle of a restaurant and you feel a big poop coming on and you just let it out. That's bad manners. So what do? Hold your breath. Here's how to do that. Holding your breath is basically contracting the anal sphincter of your emotions. God wouldn't have given you one if you weren't meant to use it. When the emotional surge hits your contracted emotional sphincter of you holding your breath, it'll go back down to where it's supposed to be, deep inside of you, trapped forever. But what if you're holding your breath and the emotion still wants to come out? Answer: keep holding your breath because eventually you'll pass out. Then when you wake up, the concussion you receive from hitting your head on the way down will be sufficient enough to render you temporarily, if not permanently, incapable of expressing emotions. The only downside to this technique is you may require ongoing medical assistance, but that means just having a sexy nurse around you all day. So it's actually all upside. Emotional suppression technique number 3, stay in your head. Let's just say you're...
Wait, we got to deal with technique number 2. So how is that? Hold your breath. Do you hold your breath?
I mean,
Are you a breath?
I hold my thoughts. You know how many thoughts get swallowed up? Sometimes like you have no idea. The ones that come out are like 10% of the entire thing, and this been processed and filtered 100 times. So, huh?
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, you were talking about JP, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying instead of me holding my breath, I just hold my thoughts. Anyway.
Gotcha. I think it's something that we all do, and I think you have to know when to do that too.
Yeah.
I think that's what I was saying about the screen.
What about it?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That fix the screen.
Okay.
But I think it's important too for us to. Sometimes you do have to hold your breath. Mm-hmm. Every emotion shouldn't be let out. Every emotion should not be coddled, because especially if it's a negative emotion, I know that he's probably more so speaking about, but so you just have to know what to which ones to
give life.
Which ones, there you go. Which ones to give life to and which ones need to be suppressed, because sometimes you have to. But this is like this. So the doctor where I work, he had said, he's out making lemonade because we're living life, and instead of feeling like it's bitter, he said, I said, well, what's going on? You're here earlier. You're doing these different things. He's like, I'm making lemonade out of my lemons. So I'm like, I love that. And so as I was thinking about it more, and I thought about it, I know last year because I posted it too. But again, it just brought back that thought process of some lemons, you don't want to add water and sugar to them. You have some that you do just got to make lemonade. That's the uncontrollables. You don't know, you got to make that lemonade. But some, then you have to swallow that lemon. You have to let it detoxify you. You have to let it do what it's going to do. You have to let it cleanse you and heal you and do those things. And sometimes if we give life to like rage and anger emotions, we can take away that accountability. Sometimes and it may not be like, you might have to have that emotion, but also don't forget to then tailor it back and say, okay, why did I have this emotion?
Yeah.
What do I need to reflect on? What do I need to swallow? What do I need to understand about myself, the situation, the circumstance? So holding your breath. Yeah. A lot of people hide their emotions. And what did he say? You put it deep down in that place where it's trapped forever. And then it comes out in different ways.
Yes, it does.
So why are you angry? Why are you bitter? Why are you envious? Why are you jealous? Why are you sad? Why can't you accomplish simple things? Why are things overwhelming? We don't understand. It's those seeds that we suppress that we don't deal with. You have to let emotions come alive and deal with them. And some of them, you know, maybe the lemonade one wasn't quite in relation to this, but like, you have to deal with your emotions. Yeah. And good or bad, you have to find out why. Where is it coming from? Get to the root cause. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. I think that's the goal. If the goal is to just find a way to deal with it, I think sometimes people just want to vent, want to talk.
Yeah.
It's not always necessary. Some conversation, I'm like, oh gosh, why are we having this one? So some of it is not fruitful, you know. But there are some that needs to be had, and I think we just have to be able to differentiate which ones they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't hold your breath, guys.
Yeah.
Guys.
Hey, you caught a live stream today, my friend.
Hey, Dorcas.
I'm glad you're here.
Welcome. Hi, Janice.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back to JP here.
Not without sugar.
Emotional suppression technique number 3, stay in your head. Let's just say your wife is starving for emotional connection, because she probably is, and she's desperately wanting emotions out of you so she can selfishly feel safe, protected, and loved. What do?
Wow, isn't that
Answer,
the 3 things I say?
Stay in your head. The more emotional she is, the more logical you need to be. Seek to rationally explain away everything she's rambling about in as much intellectual detail as possible. This means when she's explaining her feelings to you, logically enlighten her about why she shouldn't be feeling that way. Take a look at the process in action. You shouldn't be feeling that way. Discounting her emotions is like putting an electrical fence up around your yard to keep your dog inside.
Wow.
That is actually...
How many people do that? Raise your hand. Don't raise your hand. It's okay. This is about learning, right? And growth.
Yeah.
I really appreciate this video. This is really, really like where a lot of men are probably like, I do that. Oops, I do that.
I saw Darth Vader and Darth Vader said, oh boy. Darth Vader said, we are in trouble, Darth Vader.
Sometimes negative emotions can protect us from further emotional damage.
That's true.
Yeah, and so it's understanding. The key is taking whatever emotion you're experiencing and when I say sometimes you have to suppress, like if you're going to have a fit of anger and rage, you don't want to, you need to suppress that. But that doesn't mean you don't need to work with it and go find out the root cause of it.
Yeah. So
you never want to hold your breath, like he was saying, in that sense where you might be holding your breath in that moment, but then you better run and find out, whoa, why do I feel this way? I was talking to my friend, and when I said this one person's name, she got all like crazy. I was like, I hope when you're doing what you're doing, you're going to think about why you feel that way. Because that's not healthy. Like when you see someone, hear something, or if there's certain trigger things, that is something that may need to be dealt with. And some things like might be a lifelong trigger that you're going to have to like do some work at that emotion and figure out why it's coming. And is it something like every emotion is worth exploring with God as the center of, figuring out why you feel how you feel. Because if you say someone's name or if something comes up or if your wife or your husband is bringing something to your attention and you immediately feel that tense up and that blockade comes up, what's that? What are you doing? You're like,
defense.
That defense wall comes up. Why? Like, aren't we all going towards the same goal here? Like, we are a team. We are a team. Get to the goals. Yeah, there's going to be some differences. Yeah. But generally speaking, I can tell he's speaking to, a crowd of men who have kind of avoided dealing with the relationship.
Why are you looking at me? I'm just like...
We're having...
Well, it's true, though. A lot of time
You're
as
good to
men,
look at.
yeah, we don't do a very good job at,
Yeah, I think this is
restraining our
very
emotions.
helpful for
Yeah.
men.
Very. Yep. Oof.
Amen.
JP is coming at us today, guys, and it's okay. Tonight is our night to be crucified.
Yeah, I'll stop talking.
We're coming back for the ladies next time. I'm just playing. All right, let's get back.
The only difference is it's not your dog, it's your wife, and you're trying to keep her out.
Let me get the context.
Emotions is like putting an electrical fence up around your yard to keep your dog inside. The only difference is it's not your dog, it's your wife, and you're trying to keep her out. Now, faking emotions is helpful when your wife wants empathy. Empathy is basically when a wounded animal wants you to limp with it. And you do that by pretending to feel the same emotion that she's feeling. And let's face it, because she's a woman, she's probably feeling sadness. Here's how to do that in 3 easy steps. Write the name of the emotion on your hand as a reminder. Step 2, in the heat of the conversation, check your hand. Step 3, pretend to feel sad with her. And now you're limping with her because that's how you do empathy. Just like the age-old wisdom has it, if there's one thing better than boobs, it's fake boobs. And it's no different with emotions. The faker, the better. Frequently asked questions. Question, JP, what happens if I cry during a movie? Answer, go immediately to your doctor and get your penis x-rayed. Because what they'll find is it's actually a giant clit, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Question.
Oh,
My
no,
therapist.
He did not. What? No, he didn't. No, JP, you can't.
Alphas don't limp.
Oh my goodness.
I get what
is
you're
wrong
saying,
with
Darth.
him?
Yeah, with your partner. Then this is primarily this is relationship based. So
Of course. Yeah, this entire
But we
video
still
is
if you're
relationship.
angry at your partner, yeah. So when looking at the context, yes, this is a husband-wife relationship, and I think that's powerful.
That is. Wow.
That is great.
That is great. Oh, did I just do that? Okay.
What just happened?
Let's talk for a little bit.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
What? It's something to be said about the marriage relationship. I think it's great that he put out this video because marriages are being broken up.
Absolutely.
And people aren't taking time to really get to the root cause of issues or to listen to one another because it's so optional nowadays.
Yeah.
Do you guys find that? JP is killing me too. He said it's a giant. Woo. He's funny.
It is getting up. Guys, we are. We're under the guillotine tonight. Let's keep going.
Yeah, you are.
It's actually a giant clit, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Question. My therapist says it's bad for me to suppress my emotions, and I should work on expressing them more. Answer. If you're seeing a therapist, it means you're not a real man, you're actually a woman. So congratulations, you just had your gender reveal party. In conclusion.
No, he did not.
What do you guys think about therapists?
JP is so smart.
I
though.
know. He's great. Oh, man. God has really blessed him with this ability to kind of say something, but not say something, and just be so comical and very clear at the same time.
It is, yeah.
It's very direct. So what do you guys think about He is funny. What do you guys think about the idea of counseling? I think over the years, in the beginning, I thought, no. And then I thought, yes. And now I think it has its place.
Yeah.
I think it's very important. I think people should have that unbiased person to discuss things with.
Unbiased is a good word.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of counselors are horrible. Yeah.
Well, and when I say, I'm talking about personal. Like if you're seeing a therapist, hopefully, and it's true, they might be biased towards you. And yeah, so that's a very prayerful thing to get a counselor or a therapist or someone.
I agree.
I think it's important.
It is worth every dime because it's so fruitful in the long run.
Well, talking makes you hear things. And when you hear things, when you're talking with someone who is appropriately trained, not to instill their own thoughts and ideas into your head, but to help you work through them, then you're like, wait a minute, why am I mad about that? Why do I have this perspective on that? It's really not that bad. Or this is really great. Or, you really become enlightened versus if it's between like a friend, if I call my girlfriend and I'm like, I can't believe he, and she's like, oh, he's evil. Leave him. Run for the hills.
Oh, gosh.
None of my friends say that. Actually, they're always
That's a
Team
bad
James.
counselor.
They're always Team James. But They're Team James.
I'm not sure.
I tell Sharice.
Sure
I'm like, oh, Sharice, I know you're always on James's side. She's the only one who I really would ever had ever said anything to in the past. But yeah, I think it's really important to watch who you talk to and choose your therapist appropriately. I don't think you men should have a bunch of women therapists.
No. Too much of that is not good either. That's double trouble. All right, let's finish JP here.
Just like the well-formed calluses on your man hands, these tried and true emotional suppression techniques will help your entire being be just as thick, tough, and full of dead skin, which is a win for you and probably nobody else. Tune in next time as we continue our journey into real manhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just want to address what Dar said. Therapy actually can be very negative to the family. And this is why I want to reiterate how important it is to pray before you get a therapist, because they put ideas in people's heads unintentionally through the same technique of like, well, why do you think that? Well, do you think that's right? And they say certain things, and whether intentional or unintentional, they create perspectives that are even worse than when the person went there.
Yeah, Darth Vader, you've shared your experience with us before with your daughter and so on, so I know where you're coming from.
Yeah, so it's very important to be prayerful-minded before you get a therapist, and you should probably check them out singularly first before you bring your whole family to sit with them.
Yeah, good point.
With a lesson on how to work out like a real man. It won't be what you think. But until then, stay hard and stay disconnected.
JP, thank you so much. Before we move to our next video, I wanted to share this, guys. Simple as I want to keep it as simple as the scripture says it here, and that's something to pray about. Okay, know this, my beloved brother. Let every person be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. We need to have what is known as active listening skills. That's lacking in many people. I think we listen with a defensive way. We listen with an answer in our minds. We listen to respond, but very few times we actually listen to be engaged and try to understand. And that's something to pray about, because it's not easy, because a lot of us can talk, but can we actually listen?
Yeah, it's very important. A lot of people are listening, waiting to respond, hearing to respond. They have already conjured up what they're going to what their response is, what they want to say, the point they want to prove with the whole matter. They don't really have any intent on hearing from another person's angle, another person's perspective. And so that's very, I love what Dar said. You have 2 ears, but only 1 mouth for a reason.
I was going to say that. Yep. Josiah said this, and I was going to say Josiah said this recently. He's like, yeah, we have 2 ears.
And 1 mouth.
I said, we have 1 mouth. But if you notice, even the 1 mouth, the tongue, that is one of the essentials to even talk and articulate your words, is behind
the teeth,
these barriers here.
They say keep your teeth in their cage.
In other words, God wants you to really control what comes out of here. This doesn't mean you shouldn't speak, but if you're gonna speak, at least speak with substance, with a point in mind, and not to destroy, but to build.
The verse that came to my heart was, men, love your wife like Christ loved the church and gave himself for it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The heart of his message was for men to be in tune with their wife, to be understanding and to be nurturing and to be present.
Yeah.
When you look at what he was saying, the 3 negatives, they all really were saying, be present, what were the 3 that he said? It's okay.
Be present, suppress.
Just hold your don't let your emotions don't let any emotions out. And I'm sure it sounds like he's talking more on the feminine type, what they would call feminine type emotions. So, those emotions of feeling that go beyond anger.
Yeah.
So, I think it's very important for men, because being the leaders and understanding the beauty of it, because once you get into that position and your wife feels loved, safe, loved, and protected. Wait, what were the 3 he said? What's what I always say. But it's those 3 things that he said: loved and protected, and to feel special. Like once your wife is there, your life is going to be so easy.
So true.
Yeah, it's something. It just becomes a natural flow of relationship. And if you're not married, you can just start practicing with whomever you have relationships with, whether even with your kids. Like, you'll see if you take time to pay attention and not just get upstairs, I don't want to hear, and all that stuff. Like, you'll see how they shift. But what I will say is in the home, as a married couple, you will see your kids shift when you come into alignment as well.
That's right.
So men are here for a purpose and a reason to kind of like help lead and guide the family. And if a woman, because we are more emotional, we can tend to need more of that feeling of acceptance and belonging, and just need to be nurtured by our husband. Nurture me.
Yeah.
Hug me.
Okay, baby. Come here.